Doing fine now, thank God. A little bit better.
So what, take me to what happened yesterday.
I was eating breakfast, and all of a sudden when I just finished eating breakfast, I heard a loud gunshot outside the house. And I got up from the kitchen table and I looked outside the window. I didn't see anything. And so it occurred to me to go ahead and open the door and go have a look-see outside and see what's going on. And by the time I walked outside, I see my neighbor running for her life into her house because she was being held at gunpoint as well. And when I saw that, I reacted, and I was walking towards her house. And all of a sudden, the adult male, the suspect came out with a 40 or a 45, and he was pointing the gun at me and told me to give him the keys to the Camaro. And at which point I did tell him, that is not my car, it's not my vehicle, I do not have the keys, and I can't provide you with that. I'm sorry. He said, you better give me those keys or else I'm gonna blow your brains out.
He said what now?
Or else I'm going to blow your brains out. And at that point, he had me at gunpoint still, and I was screaming at my mom, "Mom, give him the keys," in Spanish. And so my mom runs inside, she gets the keys, comes right back outside, she chucks the keys at him, and as soon as he catches it, he shoots at my mom and misses, and he hits the porch of the roof. And that's when I took action, and that's when I tried to go ahead and take the gun away from him. And unfortunately, I wasn't successful, and I got this banged up bruise on my head for being pistol whipped, for trying to take him down. As soon as that happened, he got me into a headlock and dragged me into the Camaro, made me open the door for him, made me get into the car through the driver's side, through the shifter, and onto the passenger side. Which point, he made me turn on the vehicle for him because he shot himself. When I heard that gunshot, he shot himself, so he wasn't able to shift the gears. So he told me that I had to shift for him, not to turn on the vehicle for him. And when I was shifting for him, he had me in a headlock with the gun still on my head and his left arm on the steering wheel, driving. And we reached Drexel and Catalina, and from Drexel and Catalina we went to Drexel and Alvernon. From Drexel and Alvernon we hit Drexel and Tucson Boulevard. And he was asking me, where is the trap house? Where are all the drugs, and where is all the weapons? I told him I do not know about any trap house. I do not know about any weapons or drugs. And he told me I better take him to a location where he can get those things. So at which point I thought about taking him back into the neighborhood, because this is where all the police officials were at. And luckily he listened to me, and he made me take him to a random house to get those drugs and weapons.
But this house had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, he just took me hostage, and he was wanting to break into a house that had drugs and weapons. And at this point, I just went with the flow, and I just picked a random house, and I told him, that's it right there, that one's it. And he pointed the window towards the passenger. He pointed the gun towards the passenger window, and he was screaming for the residents to come out. And at which point nobody came out. I'm not sure if anybody was home or not. And he got anxious and gunned it again, pressed the gas, hit Drexel and Catalina, saw two young girls that were walking home from Desert View High School, and tried to kidnap them as well. And I was trying to give them facial gestures, and I was putting my hands up already. I already had my hands up in the car, trying to let them know to run, get away from this crazy maniac. He's out of control. At that point, a deputy showed up, right, and parked the car right in front of us. And at that point, the suspect was pointing his gun at me and at the officer at the same time, going back and forth. And which he gunned it again. He went 80 miles to 100 miles per hour down Drexel to Drexel and Alvernon. From Drexel and Alvernon, he told me to help him out, to calm him down, and if I calm him down, he'll calm me down, and that he wanted me to use my phone to call the police to have them back off. And I did not have my phone with me, I had no wallet, I had nothing on me. At which point he was on pursuit by the police. He went on to Drexel and Palo Verde, and he tried to hijack another vehicle at gunpoint. That was not successful. He tried to hijack a school bus at the same time right after that. He saw the cops were the cops were catching up to us, and he got on the wrong side of the road into oncoming traffic, going 80 miles per hour. Almost got into more than 15 car accidents, and thank God, you know, we didn't get into any of those accidents, but he was driving so recklessly and like a maniac with a gun still pointed at my head. And he told me that he didn't want to do this, but he had to. And I told him, why? Just why? And he said, because he just got out of prison and nobody understands him. There's nobody that can talk to him. And all he wanted was for somebody to talk to. And that they called him, his name was Stretcher. And that he didn't want to do this, but he needed a Camaro. He needed a fast car. And that he didn't want to kill me. And that if I complied with him, he will comply with me and he wouldn't shoot me. But he told me to not try him, to not do anything, or else he will end my life.
Did you believe him?
Yes, absolutely. And when he said that, he grabbed me into a headlock again, because he was just pointing his gun at me like this. But when he grabbed me into a headlock again and he was still driving, he still had his gun like that to my head while he was driving. At that point, he was driving so recklessly, he was going over the median of the sidewalks with a Camaro, like if it was a truck, and completely messed up the undercarriage. One of the tires ended up flying out, and we ended up on Aviation and Country Club, I want to say, and the Camaro just completely gave out. It just shut down completely, and he told me, this is where it ends. So be ready and take off my silver chain around my neck, and I hope you can pray for us both. Please pray for us. And I said, okay, I'm gonna pray for you, and I'm gonna pray for me. And at that point, he was paranoid, anxious, all at once. He didn't know whether to shoot me first or to shoot the police officers first. So he was waving his gun back and forth like about 3 times. So by the 3rd time he waved his gun back to the police, he still had me in a headlock. So I was looking down, and as soon as he went like that, I don't know if he went like this to his head and shot himself, or he didn't get enough of a reach to aim at the police officers, and the police officer just took the shot. And when I realized that there was another gunshot, I was shocked. I was rattled, and I knew that that was my only chance to escape, because I didn't know if he was still alive or what was happening. But I opened the door, I slid out, got on the ground, I got back up, and I ran, and the police told me to get down on the ground. I knew that he was unconscious. They brought the K-9 unit back to the police, and they rushed the car. And they rushed me into the cop car. They had me wait there because the ambulance that was on scene already had to take him into UMC emergency room because he had to go under surgery. Apparently, the bullet that he took went into his skull near his brain. And the doctors did tell me that he is in very, very critical condition and he might not make it. And
What was going through your mind?
well, I was just in complete shock. I was scared for my life. I never thought that something like that would happen in my own home. And it just comes to show you that you need to be ready for anything that life throws at you. You cannot live life with any regrets and live life to the fullest. This has taught me to change my ways, to appreciate life.
So it was a life-changing moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a moment that I will never forget. When I prayed to God, when he was about to kill me, I prayed God for forgiveness and to save us. And God came through with a miracle. He had his angels wrapped around me and saved my life because I believe that my mission in life is not over yet. I still have something to do in this life. And God told me it's not my time yet. And I'm thankful for that.
Well, and then also the fact that he shot at your mother.
Yes. When he shot at my mom, I took it upon myself to take action and take the weapon away from him. And at that point, that's when he just pistol whipped me with the .45. And he got me unconscious, and he got me in a headlock and dragged me into the Camaro and took me hostage. And at that point, that's where he was threatening my life over and over and over again. Which to the point where he told me that he didn't want to do this, he didn't want to kill me, but if I comply with him, he won't kill me. And
You believed him?
Yes, I told him I'll do anything you want, I'll do anything you say, just don't kill me, please. And it was just a surreal moment.
So physically you're okay, but emotionally?
Emotionally, I am traumatized, and I am a little bit scared now for my life in general. Got to be more careful. He did scar me to be more careful now, and it's something that, it's a testimony for me to tell others to live life to the fullest, because you never know when the next time you'll ever get to see your loved ones again.